Hello. Hello. Hi. I am filming a voiceover, which is something I've never done before. I don't even have the video in front of me, so I'm just going to be rambling and I apologise for that. First of all, I have a pop filter now. I bought a pop filter. How does it sound? Pop filter. Pop filter. So I am making the Macbeths, and this is because I am going to be doing the 100 baby challenge with Lady Macbeth once the infant update comes out, which is, I know, a very creative, inventive and unique idea. I genuinely thought that this was a unique idea, but turns out a lot of people are doing that, so not as creative as I thought. I'm doing it with Lady Macbeth because my friend suggested that I do it with Lady Macbeth, and now I was like, okay, I'll do that then. Why not? I never actually studied Macbeth at GCSE because for some unknown reason my teacher decided that Romeo and Juliet was a much better choice to study. Didn't even ask the class, we just were told we're going to be doing Romeo and Juliet, and I was like, okay. Turns out some of the other classes did Macbeth, and we were stuck doing Romeo and Juliet, even though Romeo and Juliet sucks, and I hate it. We had to do Romeo and Juliet instead of Macbeth, so now I am doing the studying of Macbeth that I never got to. So I'm making this Lady Macbeth specifically based off of this picture, and it's not going to be very accurate. It's not going to be very, I can only do so much, thank you. It's all very strange and new for me. A lot of these dresses, like a lot of the medieval dress, like custom content dresses you'll find are alpha. I'm very much a Maxis Match girly, so this is very uncomfortable and weird for me, and if I start playing and I don't like the dresses, I will switch them out if I find any good ones. So this may not even be the final version of her. Goodness. I feel like I should explain at least a brief summary of the plot of Macbeth since we are using the characters. Let me refer to my notes. So Macbeth is set in 11th century Scotland. We first see Macbeth with his friend Banquo returning from battle because they are generals in King Duncan's army. They come across a group of 3 witches who give Macbeth a prophecy. They tell him that he will become Thane of Cawdor and later King of Scotland, and they tell Banquo that his descendants will become King of Scotland. Not long after, Macbeth gets promoted to Thane, and the king plans to honour him by visiting his castle. He writes to his wife, Lady Macbeth, explaining all that happened, including the prophecy, and this gives her a few naughty ideas about usurping the throne by murdering King Duncan. When the king arrives at the castle, Lady Macbeth persuades her husband into killing him. Well, persuades, more like manipulates, because she's a bad, queen, love her, queen. She sedates the guards so that Macbeth can stab the king in his sleep. She then frames the guards with the dagger. Unexpectedly, nobleman Macduff arrives, and they quote-unquote find the king and execute the guards. The king's sons, Malcolm and Donlebane, escape the castle in fear that they are next, which, would be correct because they are next in line of the throne. Macbeth is crowned King of Scotland, but he's plagued by paranoia because Banquo has a son, Fleance. I probably should have learned how to pronounce his name, but Anyway, Macbeth puts hits on both Banquo and his son. Banquo is murdered, but his son, Fleance escapes. Later that night, Macbeth sees a ghost of Banquo and nearly loses his mind. Lady Macbeth is also beginning to have some doubts, though to be honest she's been having doubts this entire time, but she doesn't let it on. Macbeth goes back to find the witches, and they reassure him that he will not be harmed unless Birnam Wood, the surrounding forest, marches to fight him, and that no man born of a woman would be able to defeat him. But Banquo's descendants will still become king. Macbeth goes on a murderous rampage, killing all associated with the opposition, including Macduff's wife and son. This causes Macduff to join forces with Malcolm and Donalbain, which is King Duncan's sons, to fight Macbeth. Holed up at his castle, Macbeth learns that Birnam Wood appears to be marching toward him. This is because Malcolm's army had cut branches to use as camouflage. He also learns that Lady Macbeth took her own life after being tormented by sleepwalking and visions of blood on her hands that can't be cleaned. Macbeth and his army are on the verge of defeat, but Macbeth clings onto the Macbeth and his army are on the verge of defeat, but Macbeth clings onto the witch's final prophecy that no man born of a woman can kill him. So he accepts a challenge from Macduff, only to learn mid-battle that Macduff was born via C-section. So, technically not born of a woman. Woo! Macbeth is defeated, and Macduff takes his head to Malcolm, who promises peace and goes off to be crowned King of Scotland. Very nice. Lovely. So our main focus is of course going to be on Lady Macbeth. I mean, our Lady Macbeth for the 100 Baby Challenge is not going to be much like the Lady Macbeth in the play because, well, she's going to be ambitious and cunning and probably, has a great desire for power. And I'm going to say that's why she has 100 babies, I suppose. Even though we can't actually accept any financial help from the donors. I'm just going to say somehow she thinks this will make her more powerful and wealthy. Because I don't see why else she'd be having 100 babies. So I don't know for sure what I'm going to be having her do for money. But I do know that I want her to have all 100 babies herself. I don't want her to die basically and have one of her children carry on having the babies. So I'm going to be aging her down with age down potions, or I might complete the Sugar Skull collection as well, so that in case she does die, her children can plead with the Grim Reaper more successfully so that she can be brought back, because getting an ambrosia is way too difficult. I'm also not sure what mods I'm going to be using, because in the rules you're not supposed to have any mods that are beneficial and that would make the challenge easier, but I'm not too concerned about the rules, to be honest. I'm probably going to start playing without many mods. One, because, well, the update's probably going to break my mods anyway, but also just to see how it goes, and if I do end up missing some mods I will put them back in, because, well, just because. A good thing about having her be based off a fictional character is that I can kind of make her look however I want. I just wanted her to look powerful and regal, because I'm not actually good at copying real life people whilst creating Sims, so I didn't spend too much time on her appearance, to be honest. I think she looks good as she is. I think that's all I wanted to say. So, thank you for watching. Subscribe. Like and subscribe. Follow along for the 100 baby challenge. Goodbye. Yeah.